at you sliding.
Alexandria's parents
You want
stared
help?
at her in shock.
Help.
The happy girl you see here
You
was
shocked
nowhere to be
me.
found. Their daughter was almost unrecognizable, her bright blonde hair dirtied, her legs covered in dark purple bruises. This foster home was no place for a child, her parents thought. After their complaints to Mentor, the agency assigned to care for Alexandria, she was brought to the residence of Cheryl Small, whose sisters later told officials they couldn't believe that she had been approved as a foster mother. She never even raised her own kids, they said. At Small's home, Alexandria was confined to a desolate room on the second floor with nothing to do. For the prearranged house visits, Small would clean up and allow Alexandria out of her room. Things appeared fine to the social workers, except for one note taken by a Mentor employee. Alexandria was pulling out her hair so often that her head was littered with bald spots. On the evening of July 29th, just hours after a social worker visited Small's home, she called 911. When emergency services arrived, Alexandria wasn't breathing.
Parents of 2-year-old Alexandria Hill were in utter disbelief in July when they got word that their daughter had died after suffering a serious brain injury.
Alexandria died under the care of Mentor, a private foster care agency notorious for placing children in abusive homes. Despite this, Mentor is still operating today, alongside numerous other private foster care agencies that have repeatedly put children in their care in danger. During the 1980s crack epidemic that left thousands of children without proper parental care, state governments began to enlist community groups to find homes for children in exchange for money. It didn't take long, however, for some to look at this issue as an entrepreneurial opportunity. The for-profit foster care system today is now a multi-million-dollar industry. Ideally, a system with this much money would help the children, but in reality, the privatization of foster care systems is facilitating the abuse of children by prioritizing money and profit over their care and well-being. Children placed in foster homes by private agencies are a third more likely to experience detrimental physical, emotional, or sexual abuse during their time in the system. In Los Angeles County alone, at least 4 children died as a result of abuse in private foster homes in just 5 years. The abuse children endure in private homes makes the mortality rate 42% higher than that of children in state-run homes.
But why are these children so likely to be abused in privatized homes? One answer is the neglectful employees who do not investigate abuse claims. In 2004, a 15-year-old boy was placed with Stephen Merritt, a new foster father who had indicated on his application that he had a preference for white male children. Shortly after arriving at the home, the boy was sexually abused by Merritt. He reported the incident to his caseworker, and after numerous complaints, he was finally removed from the home. Even so, Mentor continued placing young boys with Merritt for 7 more years.
You begin to lose control over the quality of the foster care homes. That private agency has, they're incentivized to have as many homes filled with, as many beds filled with children as they can.
The incentive given to these agencies is money. The state government pays the agency per child they place in foster homes.
Privatized foster care doesn't work. And what it does is it actually, it makes more kids enter foster care because of the way the contract is written.
The contract states that once a child achieves permanent placement, meaning they are reunited with a parent or adopted, payment to the private agency will stop.
They make money if a child gets placed in their homes and doesn't move.
The data reinforces this idea, as use in privately operated homes remain in the system 11% longer than those in state-run homes.
Lose control over the full cycle of child protection, which includes, the detention, but also the reunification and all the efforts. And actually, helping out the parents is a big part of it.
A solution to privatization would be funding substance abuse programs, accessible mental health care, and domestic violence resources for parents. These services could keep families together and prevent the overload of the foster care system.
Having parents comply with those court-ordered requirements can be very challenging, very time-consuming. So why, if you're a private foster care worker, why would you spend time on that? I mean, it might lead to reunification, which means that you just don't earn money anymore on that child.
What happened to Alexandria was not uncommon. It was the same tragic fate met by so many of America's foster children. Ending the privatization of the child welfare systems is the first step in correcting decades of abuse and corruption.
From my perspective as a former foster child, I see a system is just so messed up right now, and nobody wants to talk honestly about this. That's another problem. No one wants to be honest about the problems. They don't want to go to the root cause of the problems. They want to try to put Band-Aids on top of these problems, and there's not enough Band-Aids in the world to cover up this stuff.
When Alexandria Hill was hospitalized with severe head trauma, her parents made the difficult decision to take her off of life support.
In reality, children are at risk no matter what type of agency is responsible for their care. State-run or privatized, some are worse than others, but the highest priority should always be the well-being of the children in their care. Privatized systems treat children as profitable commodities and prioritize money over taking action on countless cases of neglect and abuse. Putting a permanent ban on privatized foster care is the first step in reforming the entire American child welfare system. Too many children have had their chances at life ripped away by the system, but it doesn't have to continue.